thing. All right, good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. It's a leg day, lower body strength today, as well as we're going to be focusing on our core. So for equipment, I have this chair. We are going to be, if you guys were here last week, following some of those same exercises. One of them was a step up, which was a new one for us. I am going to be taking off this softer pad here and using this chair to step up. Now, if you don't have something along those lines, I have a wonderful option that does not require anything to step up on, and that is later on in life. We're gonna get you guys started with a warm-up, no equipment involved, and then that chair, as well as my dumbbells and bands, will come into play towards as soon as we get started on these exercises. So let's get down on the floor because we know that that is where these leg days start. Today, laying on our back, we're gonna send our legs out, just laying down on our back, lifting up one leg, grabbing that opposite knee with our hand, and then trying to pull this knee all the way over with an exhale. And then we'll inhale and bring it back up. Nice big breath in, and then exhale. We'll cross the body and see if we can get that leg close to the floor, eventually touching the floor as we go through 10 reps total. So we'll do 5 per side, and exhaling. And you might not get this leg down to the floor, especially not on those first few, and that's totally fine. Awesome. All right, come on in, Carly. We're laying on the floor. Good morning. So you guys joining in here, we're down here starting off, going through 5 per side of these rotations. So grabbing opposite leg. Oh, this one feels so nice first thing in the morning. Once we're done 10, don't go too far. We're going to sit up into our 90-90 position. Probably saw this one coming. A little bit cut off on my screen here. But we have 90 degrees at both of the knees, and we're going to work with flipping our legs right and left. Just going to position myself down a little bit so you guys can see. Even though this one is not new to any of us, we have all been through this one before. So 90 degrees. If you need to use your arms, we know that that is okay, but eventually we will work our way to not using our arms and maybe getting both of our butt cheeks down on the floor. Easier said than done, I know. So we'll go through 10, 5 per side. And then we're going to stop on one side. You can start with whatever side you want. And we're going to try to see again if we can get both your hips on the floor. We'll try to lift up this knee, and we'll go through that about 10 reps total. Trying to just lift up that knee. We'll keep the foot down, the hip down. And we're tapping into those little muscles on the sides of our hips. Maybe a little uncomfortable, a little crampy, but it should not be painful. If you're feeling any pain, we'll just ease off. You don't lift your legs so high. We'll do 10. And then we'll try to lift up the foot. Now for this one, I have to lean over a little bit because if I don't, it just doesn't want to happen. But as I lean and I start to wake up those muscles, I can start to sit up again and I'll be able to do this. So you might have the same success. So we'll do that on the other side as well. Starting off with those 10 of this first knee here. Again, these ones are more about activation. We should feel a little bit of burning in our hips, a little bit of work happening. So we'll go through 10, and then same thing with the foot. And I know I need to lean over or else it will not happen. And then as I start to get them going, and one side might be a little easier than the other, we can see if we can do this with no hands. So we'll go through, again, 10 and 10, and then we can just go back and forth a couple more times just to loosen that up, because if you were doing that correctly there, you might be feeling a little tight, a little crampy in our hips. Whew, we are going to stand up. Yes, we are. Going into the next one, which is a lunge with a reach. So we're going to come up to the front of the mat here. We'll be stepping back into a lunge and sending both our arms up above our head and then back to the center, alternating legs, balance, doing 20 total, 10 per side. So chest is high. As we step back, you should feel a little bit of opening happening in that front hip. And then the arms are moving. Both of them today, I've done this one before with the one, but today is both sending those ones up over your head. So we'll go through 20 of those. loosening it up. And then we'll get ourselves into a squat stance. So again, 10 per side, and then squat stance. Next one we're going into is 10 reps total. We're going to sit down into a squat and see if we can apply a little bit of pressure towards the inside of our legs, and then we'll stand up. That was 1, and we are doing 10. Now, if you don't have the mobility to get down here, maybe you have sensitive knees, to get your elbows on your knees and push them out, we can use our hands, we can use our forearms to apply that pressure instead of our elbows, but that is the goal, is to get down low enough with a nice straight back. We're not rounded over or anything like that. A little bit of pressure, and then we stand up. So we'll do 10 of those. 10 of those. I don't know why, but for some reason, Zoom, good morning, makes me have a waiting room. I can't disable it. So that's why I'm kind of running back and forth to the screen to manually let you guys in. It's all good though. Okay, so we have 2 more to go through. Good morning, Bobby. So next ones we're going through is a dead bug and then a step through, both activation exercises. Dead bug is down, back on the floor. So come on down here. We're gonna get our legs and arms up in the air, 90 degrees at our knees. Arms are straight, shoulders and wrists are in line, knees and hips. Lower backs squished into the floor. We're gonna take the palm and the knee of the opposite limbs and then move them together, squeeze them together, and then the other 2 will lower and lift. And we're doing 10 reps total per side. I'm doing this one twice. So we'll let you guys start off getting set up there in that 90 degrees. Make sure your back is very tight to the floor. Palm and legs squeezing together. And then we'll lower those 2 with an exhale. So inhale here. Exhale, send it out. And you guys will see I'm keeping my leg bent. Now you can straighten out your leg, but for me, if I do that, I lose contact with my back, especially first thing in the morning while I'm still trying to get my core muscles activated. So as you go through this 10, and then we switch, 10. You have to do 2 sets. So maybe on your second set, you want to try doing this with a straight leg, as long as you can keep your back down. So we'll do 10 on the right, 10 on the left, and then 1 more like that. Yes, 2 sets down here, 10 and 10. So we're trying to squeeze that arm and leg together, squeeze our back down to the floor. Oh, and this one is pretty much foolproof. You should feel your abs, you should feel your core, all of the things, especially if you are pushing your back down. So 10 and 10 twice, and then we'll stand up. Take your time though, because I know that one takes a little bit. Okay, so once you guys are done that one, last one we're going to do is all about warming up and activating our glutes, our butt muscles. We're going to do our hip loaded step through. This is not a new one to us. We've been here before. We're going to start off with putting all of the weight onto one leg, standing up nice and tall, soft knee on that standing leg, and I'm essentially balancing here. I want to hinge my hips, so push my butt back, and then wherever this leg ends up, this is the bottom of our rep. I'll align my opposite arms, so I have my left leg forward, so I have my right arm forward, and then I'll pull my hips through and have those opposite arms guide me. So we're trying to have our hips move back, hips back, hips back, hips back, loading up that hip, and then hips forward. So we should feel a lot of work happening right here, surprisingly for this one. This one is definitely one of those ones that looks a lot more challenging than it is. But you have to think about it. You have to think about loading up the muscles in the back of your hip, the back of your leg. And we'll go through 10 reps per side. So we'll do 10 on the right, 10 on the left. If the arms mess you up, don't worry about opposite arms and legs. Worry most about that feeling of tightness in the back of your hips. The burning in the glutes. Okay. Yes. So I know that one can be a little bit weird, but if you're doing it properly, it really does. It's a super effective one. Feels and get everything warmed up in a very effective way. So once you guys are done, now we're going to get you started on these first two exercises. Now today we are switching it up and we are doing our split squats first. So split squats with our rear foot elevated are first up on the menu. You guys are going to be doing 5 reps with a 5-second pause on each per side. Now I'm going to be doing these. Again, I have my chair cushion on now, not doing the step ups yet, with my back foot elevated on that chair. First set, if you guys would like, you could start off body weight because we are going to sit down and hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we come up into the rep, and we're doing that 4 more times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's 2. And so you can start your first set right now. Again, if you want to start off body weight, those of you who do not have access to something to elevate your foot, we're doing this with our foot on the floor, toes down like so. Same pause, knees definitely not touching the floor, and then we drive up. So we'll go through 5 reps with a 5-second hold at the bottom. Now I know this one can be a little tedious. We have to be honest with ourselves in that 5-second hold. So once we're done that first side, you can just bring that back foot forward, send the other one back up, and then we'll do the same thing on the other side. So you guys will note I'm sending my hips back. My chest is coming forward slightly so that my knee doesn't drive forward, but rather my hips go back. It's going to help us use a bit more through the back side, as well as just keep our knees safe. So we'll do these reps, the 5. Okay, so for most of us, it's going to be hard. We're going to feel that. We're going to definitely not want to do 6, and that's totally fine. But we'll probably be able to add some resistance to that. You guys are going to do 3 more sets, and we are going to superset this with a hip thrust with our upper back elevated on our chair, our bench, our couch, whatever you guys are using. Yet if you do not have something like this, your back's going to be on the floor. We're going to set ourselves up, do that little bit of a crunch so that we bring our ribs and pelvis together, chin tucked, looking down towards our feet. And then we'll drive the hips up, squeeze the butt, knees out, going through 15 reps, 1, 5. So we'll get these in, not 50, 15. Now, again, same thing with this one. If you want to start your first set body weight, that's fine because this is 15 reps. Now, right off the bat, you're thinking in your head that might be a little easy body weight. You're totally fine if you want to weight it up right now and put some weight on your hips, or maybe instead of the weight, or you want to band your knees. So if you have a loop band, you can add a band around your knees, which is going to make it feel a lot harder. Your butt's going to be working harder to keep those knees out. So we'll do 15 reps of these ones. Getting down, so we're feeling that stretch. We want to stop before the knees drive back too much, and then we drive up to the top. So we'll do those 15. Woo. And then once we're done, we'll stand you guys up. We'll take about 30 seconds of rest here. We'll try to keep it shorter on the rest period, but we will take a little bit of time before we go into our next set because we got a lot of backside leg action going on here. I'm trying to work our glutes, the back of our hips on both of these exercises. So we will take a little bit of rest, not too much though, before you guys go into your second of 4 sets. So we need 3 more. That was our first one. We're going to do 3 more, regardless if you're adding weight or not, which, as you remember, is an option for the second set. So if you did that first one, body weight, again, the 5 reps with the 5-second hold at the bottom. If you found it was a little easy, like you probably could have done 6, or you could have definitely just, held it for longer or done more reps in general. Add some weight to it. You can either hold both of your weights down by your sides. If you're using a band, we can anchor that band around opposite foot. And then we will now pause with that weight at the bottom. It's going to make it a lot harder because there's more weight involved. So we'll go through 5 with the 5-second pause. An honest 5, like a Mississippi count. Okay, not a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But remember, you only have to do 5 reps, so it's kind of even. Maybe. So we'll go right from those split squats, which we're getting done right off the bat here, into the hip thrusts. Again, those of you who are using bands, if you want to add a band, you can put it right above our knees. And this goes for if you have dumbbells or if you don't have dumbbells, you can do this either way. This is going to give you a little bit of a different work than the actual dumbbells. Having the dumbbells on our hips is going to add that resistance directly to your butt muscles, the ones that are pushing your hips up, so more like the backside. Whereas if you have a band like this, either or, anytime you have a band, it wants our knees in, so it's pulling our knees in. And so by having the band on and having to maintain that distance, we're getting more work in the sides of our hips, which is why this band is a great option. First of all, most of us have them, but also because it makes it feel a lot harder as we go through this, because my knees are here and I don't want to ever let them come inward. And if I do, then I'm going to miss out on that work in the hips. So we want to push them out, keep them out, and then go through our set. And now the entire time, the sides of our hips, sides of our glutes are going to be fighting the band. It's going to make you feel a lot harder. So that is an option for you guys. You don't have to do it, but it is a great option. So we have 2 more rounds of this stuff, of these split squats and the leg hip thrust. All right. And this is another kind of underlying reminder. I know it's kind of late. You're already on your 3rd set. But for those of you who do not have a chair or a bench or something, if you're using your back foot on the floor like this, we can always even slightly elevate it to get a little bit more focus on that front glute and the front side here. That foot is higher. We're going to be able to sink down a little bit lower and again, just get more work happening on the side here. So you can even use like a stool or a stair in your house if you have access to that somewhere close. It's also just, again, going to make it feel a little bit more challenging if you want that. So we'll go through set number 3. Let's do it. Good job, you guys. So counting, sometimes, again, we can kind of cheat ourselves without actually like purposely cheating ourselves when it comes down to counting, especially when it's a longer count, like a 5-second count. So sometimes what I'll do with people is rather than counting, I mean, I will count for them, but I will tell them to focus on a certain amount of breaths. Now, 5 seconds is quite a hold down there. So for most normal people, 2 inhale exhales is about going to take them about 5, maybe 6 seconds, maybe a little longer, but that's okay. So if you want to think about that now, or maybe on your last set here, and then counting, you can sit down and go inhale, inhale, and then on that second exhale, you can push yourself out of that rep, and that is going to give you a nice amount of time down there without, having to actually count up to 5, because sometimes, again, it's more of like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that is not going to give you nearly as much as you actually taking that time down there and then going out of it, okay? So let's definitely try to take that into our last set, because you guys have one more. This one, approaching your last one to get it in. Nice, 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 nice. Good job, you guys. Nice. So you're adding on those bands. You want to keep that tension on the knees. And reminder for those of you who are hip thrusting off of the floor, what we want to do before we start our set is squish that lower back into the floor. Again, make sure your knees are out to the sides, and then we'll go through every time we come down. We don't want to ever touch our butt. We want to touch the lower back. And so what that's doing is putting us into that same kind of crunched position as I have you up on that bench. When I have you kind of bring yourself like this, it's just a little easier to find on the floor because we can touch our lower back down each time. So we'll get that going on here on our last set. The last one. We're doing good for time. You guys have about 2 minutes until we shall be starting our next part. Which all right. So let's do our thing here. We are on our final set number 4. Woohoo! Give you guys about 1 more minute here to finish up. Maybe 1.5 minutes if we need it. The 15 hip thrusts, because that takes us almost a minute. Nice work. Oh, yes. That on is the 5-second hold. All right. Good job, you guys. So we'll take our time with our final set here. Pushing up strong. Again, 5 with the 5-second hold on each side plus 15 hip thrusts. We'll go right into those hip thrusts, get them done. Now, especially on this last set, you guys have time. We're still counting down that minute here. And I want you to finish this set, so don't let me rush you. Get yourself done. I want you to feel your last set. So especially on those last 5 reps of that 15, if you need to really feel it a little bit more, you know what to do. Hold each rep. Hang out at the top for a second before you leave so you can really go out this set feeling all of the things in your backside in the right place where we want it. Once you guys are done, you can grab a quick sip of water, walk it off, whoop, whoop. Get yourself set up for the next part, which is going to be a step up. Now, the step up, I was explaining at the very beginning, I am going to take off this soft chair pad. Yes, because it's IKEA and it just comes off. And I'm going to use this nice chair here to do my step ups onto. Now I've positioned this chair because y'all know this is just an IKEA chair. It was $150 for the whole table and all 4 chairs. So needless to say, I always question the integrity. It does hold through, but to make it even safer, what I do is push it up against the wall like this. So that way it doesn't slide around and it's just less risky. And I have the wall here just in case. So those of you who are going to be stepping up onto something, that was my long way of saying that it has to be safe more than anything else. And at any point, if you feel unsafe, if you feel a little bit sketchy as you're doing it, just do the other version of this one, which is simply just a step back lunge rather than you actually being elevated on a chair, okay? But I'm going to do this because I can, and because what this is doing is it's going to make this again a little bit more challenging, so we have more range to step through. So I have my 1 foot on here. I'm going to step up to the top and try to bring this foot up so that I don't touch down. Now again, I'm using my hands just for the sake of staying safe on this chair because it is a little bit wobbly. And we're going through 10 reps all on one side. So I'll do 10 on here, and then I'm going to switch and do 10 on the other side. Now, because our body, again, is just always wanting to make things easier, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. But before we step up, we're going to go up onto the toe, and then we'll try to step up. And we'll see how that feels. Onto the toe, and then step up, rather than us pushing ourselves up with that back leg. So let's start this off. We'll do 10 on that side, 10 on the other side. Again, if you are working with those step back lunges, same idea here. We'll try to not use the back leg as much, and we'll pull ourselves up by not pushing ourselves off with that back foot. You almost want to lift it off the floor back there. Yes, and then stand up to the top. So we'll do 10 and 10. Good job, you guys. And again, that leg is going to come up at the top so that we're getting that little bit of balance factor, just involving those little stabilizing muscles before we go back down into that next one. And that goes for both of these, the step up or the lunge. So we're going through 10 and 10. All right, nice work, you guys. So yes, at any point, you could weight this. You could add resistance to it. Bands would work. You could add the band looped around opposite foot. But more than anything, before you guys start about thinking bands or weights or anything like that, I want to make sure that you are using your body weight to the full extent that we can. And for most of us, that is something that we need to work on before we start adding weights. So that is what I would suggest you guys do. Maybe over the next few weeks, we can think about adding weights. But for now, let's just try to see if we can make it really hard with just our body. And of course, we're going to superset this with something. So I have my 2 weights in my hands. I'm going to front load them up to this position. I'm in a squat stance in my feet. And you guys are going through a 1 1/4 rep squat. So you want to come up a 1/4 rep, back down, and then stand up. That's 1, and we're doing 10. So again, all the way down, 1/4 of the way up, back down, all the way up. That's 2, and we do 10. For those of you who have sensitive knees, maybe we just won't sit so low. And we'll do that 1/4 rep sitting above 90 degrees rather than in 90 degrees. So we'll go through that, trying to be as controlled as possible on that 1/4 rep. It's not a pulse. It's not a bounce. Okay, I want you guys as intentional as possible. For those of you who do not have dumbbells or something weighted, if you want to add some resistance around your knees, we can add that in there. And then go through your 10 reps like so. All right. Okay, so this is you guys. We are not taking any rest in between these 2. We're going to go back to back 3 more sets. Although you do need to take a little second right now because the legs are really feeling after that. Grab a quick sip of water. Try to keep it under 30 seconds, and then we'll go right into our second set, starting back with the first one, which was our step-ups. Yes. So you guys are always hearing me complain about how my one side is a lot weaker than the other. My right side always gives me a struggle. So that is usually the side I start on, especially when it comes down to something like this, because I don't want my left side to just be taking over and get super, super strong and leave my right one in the wind. So I focus on the right one and I do this side first. So that way I kind of am evening out things over time. So if you do have one side that is substantially easier or stronger than the other, I highly suggest that you start on that side. Join me with it. We're weak side together, and we'll start our first or second set. So we'll go through onto the toe and then stepping up and into it. And again, safety first, you guys. So if you're feeling a little bit unsafe on whatever you're using, make it safe. Do the one on the floor. Can become just as effective as long as we're not pushing ourselves up with that back leg. We don't want any of this happening. We want to pull ourselves up to the top. I know it's harder like that. I know. All right, you guys, nice work. So we'll go through 10 and 10. Awesome. All right. So again, once we are done those step-ups, we go right into our 1 1/4 rep squats. So we want to sit down to 90 degrees. You guys see I'm pushing my knees out. Very intentional 1/4 rep. So we should feel all of that. We've talked a lot before about being active in our squats and actually feeling our muscles work as we're going through. So I want you guys to think about that. So you're sitting down, we're trying to stretch out the back side, back of the legs. And then when we go into that first 1/4 rep, we want to squeeze our butt to do it. And you have to think about it. You have 2 more chances. It's your second set. 2 more sets to do it. So I really want you guys to think about it on your next 2 sets. And we're trying our best to go through these little to no rest in between. If you are doing these step-ups or lunges, whichever one you're doing, try your best to make 10 feel as challenging as you can. You do not want to be thinking about getting 12 or 15 reps. 10 is it. So if you need to crank it up a notch, I want you guys to channel our skater squats. So skater squats are one that I've talked about. We haven't really done too often, but I've definitely talked about them because they're really hard and they go like this. So we go down and then we touch the knee down and we stand ourselves up without any use of the second leg. So if you're finding that these lunges are kind of easy and you're doing them, and no matter what you're using, dumbbells, bands, doesn't matter, it's still easy, that is what you can do, is work yourself up and onto doing these skater squats. And hopefully I make that look easy, but it is not easy. It is literally one of the hardest single leg lower body exercises that I know. And so it is what I'm going to put into your head, because by now we've been doing this stuff for a bit, maybe a few months. You should be getting stronger at these exercises, and you should start to think about ways that we can make them harder, progress them. And for the lunges, that's what's up, skater squats. So think about it. Maybe try it on your last set. If you would like, because you guys have one more. One more. Nice work, you guys. Let's get it. Final set. Good work. So breathe through these. Take your time with the exercises, but we'll try our best to just transition between them as quickly, as efficiently as possible, going through them both. And think about being active in our glutes, actually feeling our butt start to squeeze at the bottom. We're not just finishing off the rep with a butt squeeze. We want that squeeze, that contraction starting down here. And that is definitely, that's something that you guys have to do for yourself. All I can do is explain it, remind you of it, but you have to make that happen. Okay, so we are approaching our last set. Woohoo! Woohoo! And we are doing so good for time. You guys have about 3 minutes until we should be starting our next part and our last part of the leg strength before we are on the floor. Working our abs and our core. We'll finish up strong here. There it is. These step ups. Nice work, you guys. So we'll get this in here. Final set. 10 and 10 and 10 squats. Whoop, whoop. All right, let's get it. Last set. Good work, you guys. So we'll breathe through this final set of these two. And we're taking our sweet time with it. Trying to finish this last set just as strong as that first one. I'm trying to get down to 90 degrees, unless you have some reason that you can't be. It's fine. But if you don't, we'll try our best to get our butt down so that we can get through the full range of motion. 10 reps, and once you guys are done, we can put those weights down, grab ourselves some water. We'll let these guys finish up here and move on to our next part in about 1 minute. So you guys have time, just enough time for the next part. Okay, nice part. Yeah, finish up strong, take your time, no bouncing, all intentional, everything's happening on purpose. Okay, so final part, you guys, of the leg strength before we are gonna flip the camera down and be hanging out, working our core until the end. Last part, I'm going to put this soft pad back on because we have a single leg hip thrust coming at you now. So we're going to do 15 reps on each side of the single leg hip thrust. We will be pairing this with a deadlift exercise, which we'll talk about after we start our first set. We gotta get you started here so that we can get this part done. Hip thrust, if you don't have something like this, you are going to be laying on your back on the floor. And I have my upper back on here, just as I did for that first hip thrust, but my feet are very close. They're narrow, they're touching, my knees are touching. Same crunch happening with the ribs. I'm gonna drive my hips all the way up to the top, lift up one leg. You guys are going to be going down and then driving up to the top and going through 15 reps, 1-5, which is quite high rep. We've been hanging out doing sets of 10, sets of 8 of these. We are doing 15 right now. So we'll try to work through the full range, down all the way up. If you feel like it's too hard, you can shorten the range and not go so far down. And if at any point you can't get up to 15, you can do them on the floor. And of course, if you don't have a chair, a bench, something like that, you can do them on the floor like so. Same rules apply with the lower back. So this is going to make this substantially easier. So if you can't get 15 up there with your hips going all the way up, you can try it down here and see how you do. For that one there. For the glutes. So these have these nice little Velcro things. Make sure it stays in position. Okay. Good job, you guys. So once we are done that one, we are going to be doing a deadlift to calf raise. So we've done a lot of variations of this one. We're going to weight it up. If you guys have dumbbells, if you don't, you can just go body weight. That's totally fine because the bands don't really work that well for this one. So we're going to go narrow. We want our hips to go back, and then we're going to bend the knees, but we want our hips to stay higher than our knees. Stutter. Hips higher than knees. So we don't want to be down here. We want to be up here. And then I'll come back up, and then we go on to the toes. And we're just doing one raise. You guys are doing 15 reps total. So again, we want the shins to stay upright. We don't want the knees pushing forward. Hips go back. And we're going through 15 reps. So again, if you do not have weights, if you would like to use your bands, you can hold it down in front of you here. But we're not going to add it around our feet, as we probably learned the hard way that it doesn't really work. Kind of flips off. So we're going through 15 reps total, shoulders down and back, strong core, down onto the heels, exhale up onto the toes, 15. And again, I'm narrow. I'm going to be right underneath my hips. So we'll go through these, and then this is us. We're going to do 3 more sets of these 2. Back to the hip thrust, no rest in between, except the time that it takes you to get down onto the floor or into position of your bench to do these 15. All right, now, for some of us, we've been hip thrusting our way through these workouts. We've been doing lots of variations of them. Some of us are going to be finding that these are getting easier. We're getting stronger at these hip thrusts. And doing them elevated like this, body weight, even 15 reps is, yes, it burns, it's hard. We could probably do more. And if you're feeling that in the back of your head when you're doing your sets, we want to make these harder. And a really great way to do that is by adding resistance to it. We could slow down, we could pause, but you're already doing 15 reps. It's going to take you a long time. So if you're finding that these hip thrusts are a little bit easy, and this is definitely not for everyone, but maybe there's some of you out there that are feeling this way. We could, same setup, same position. When you get this leg lifted up, we can put a weight on that hip there, and you can just hold it in place and go through now a weighted single leg hip thrust. And you'll find that it's going to be a lot more challenging. Another way to make this harder, hello bands, preferably a light band, okay? So start light if you have it. What we can do, and this applies for the one on the floor or up here. So now I have the band around my knees here. I have this resistance, and I'm going through, and you'll find sometimes they might slip up a little bit, but now I have this sideways resistance. So it's, again, just going to make this feel a lot more challenging without having to pause or hold or anything like that, because we're doing 15 reps. So those are 2 ways that you can make those a little bit more. All right, so we'll go through our Second set, and if you want to use the bands, hold them in your hands, give yourself something to hold, and we'll go through this set. So we're trying to shoot up onto the toes, sending our butt back, and you can kind of check yourself. Look down, make sure that your knees aren't driving forward, but rather your hips are going back behind you. Oh yeah. That's the calf raise, just the one. So not as much balance involved as that double calf raise that we know and love. Just the single one today. So we're doing those and working through 15 of them, all onto the toes. And then we go right into 2 more sets, the last 2 sets. Yes. There we go. Good job, you guys. So let's get her in. Okay. Nice work. So we have one more round. Yay. This one more. We are good for time. The timer is set for 12 minutes. So we need, yes, you guys are good. We have about 3 minutes until I will start explaining the next part. Okay. And, oh, I'm sorry, 16 minutes. Yes. 2 minutes. Yes. Perfect. Math. No matter how many times I set that timer, I always mix up the 12 and 16 minute circuits. That is okay because it calculates it for us. All right, so let's take our time here, you guys. Final set, finishing up our last 2. Yes. So let's get them done. Same idea as those first 2 supersets we did. We want a strong finish. So don't let the fact that you have 2 minutes left make you rush or anything like that. Take your time. Take your time. Okay. So final round of these 2. Awesome. All right, so let's get it in. We'll give you guys about 1 more minute here to finish your thing up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Should be feeling good. That one, I like that little combo there. We have the nice glute focused exercise and then the deadlift to calves, which is kind of a full-on leg situation. Makes it more manageable to do with no rest. All right, so once you guys are done, which you're not yet, that's okay, take your time. We are going to grab a little bit of water gear and get ourselves set up on the floor for the last part, which is going to be us literally on the floor until the end of the class. It's going to take us about 16 minutes to go through this circuit, and I'm going to move us down here all the way for reals, because that is where we're going to stay until the end. So finish up, you guys. Take your time with it. Last set of these 2. Grab some water. And then I am going to start talking about the last part here. Woohoo! All right. Perfect. Yeah, 12 minutes. See, I knew it was 12 minutes. I mathed it wrong. Okay, nice work, you guys. So we will head down onto the floor. You guys do not need any equipment for the last part here. We are just body weight. We don't need the dumbbells. We don't need the band or the chair. I'm gonna move it off. All right, so we gotta start this thing so that we can get through this. Ha. All right. Ready as we're gonna be. Okay, so I'm gonna start talking about this last part here, which is 3 exercises, except the one in the middle is a double-sided exercise. So I have this timer set here, 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off. But 30 seconds is our work. The 15 seconds is our transition/rest time, mostly transition time, because we kind of got to switch positions between each of these. So we're going to start off with this first set. I will show you these ones on the timer, and then we will repeat 3 more sets after to make it 4 total. So you guys can get down here, get comfortable down on the floor, because this is where we are going to hang out. Again, no equipment involved. It's strictly just body weight. Now this first one I will show you before we start the timer, because it's kind of a new one. We've done different versions and different parts of this one, but we're adding it together into kind of a fun one. Maybe, we'll see. So it starts off in this V holding position, which you'll have more success at if you walk your hips back. So we're sitting right on the bottom of our sit bones. We're going to get into this V position. You want to make sure there's nothing behind you, because we are going to roll onto our back and then catch in this V position. So we roll and then we catch. Now, this is going to be you guys for 30 seconds. So we're just trying to keep our chest up, chest nice and high. If you want to make this harder right off the bat, we can go with straight legs rather than bent legs. So let's try this out in 30 seconds. You guys ready? I haven't started the timer yet, but I will start it in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So chest up, shoulders back, arms are straight, legs are straight. And we want to maintain this strong V or boat position for this entire amount of time. Now, if you feel like this one puts a little bit pressure on the lower back or what have you, you can always just hold here. You can even work with a V up and down rather than the rock, as I've had some people who just feel some bad pressure back there, but that's totally fine because we got options and time. So we're transitioning right into the next one, which is that double-sided one, which is our half side plank, hey, to leg lift. So you guys can get yourself into position. We're on the side of that lower leg here. We'll lift up and drive our hips forward, chest up, and then we'll try to work with this leg lift here. Now, this is a really hard one. We're holding it for 30 seconds. We're about halfway there. Any point you can bend the leg in, which is going to make it feel a little bit easier, but try your best to keep at least the knee lifted. So you can, if you need to, you can put that toe down, but try to keep the knee up so that you still get the work in the side of this hip. 3, 2, 1. And now we'll switch and do the other side. Because you remember, I said it takes a lot of switching. It's a double-sided exercise. So we'll wait for the beep. Ready, set, and here we go. And then we'll try to do the same thing as we did on the first side over here. So same leg lift. We tried to do that. Maybe we found it was too hard. We bent the leg in. Whatever you did over there, we're going to do over here. And when in doubt, just try to keep the knee up, keep the hips forward, and breathe. 10 more seconds here. There you go. So hips forward, 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. All right, you guys. So last one is going to be in a front plank position. We're going to be at parallel forearms like this into the plank. And then we're going to walk ourselves back into this long lever position. And here we go. We're holding. So I'm holding here. The goal is to have my shoulders sit behind my elbows. So I want to be back here rather than up here, which makes it feel a lot harder, which is the goal. So if you need to, you can always come down onto your knees if you can't maintain this, or you can again just kind of walk forward a little bit before you come down onto the knees. But we're going to hold this here for 3, 2, 1. Nice job, you guys. Okay, so this is us. We're going to do that again 3 more times, and then we are done. So back to the first one. That rockin' V hold. See, it's kind of fun. I don't know. Here we go. So we go down, and then we come up. So we'll try to keep the chest up. We're trying not to actually use any momentum, but rather just our core to control that roll back and roll up. You should feel nice and tight in there the entire time. We shouldn't have any movement going on to actually crunch in and out. Yes. Nice job, you guys. 3, 2, 1. Rest. Good job. All right. So we'll flip over onto the side into half side plank with the leg lift, which definitely takes up the bulk of the circuit. We're going to get it done though. Ready? Here we go. So we'll lift ourselves up and chest up, hips forward. That makes a really big difference. If our hips are back here, we're not at full hip extension. We want our hips to be straight so our body can be straight so that we can get the proper work on this side. If our hips are back, we're not going to be feeling it so much here. We might feel other things like our shoulder, our lower back. Not the goal. Maybe a little bit, but 3, 2, and rest. And switch sides. So not lower back, but you might feel your shoulder burning a little bit, of course. But you should definitely feel your hips on this one. It's kind of foolproof, maybe. Other side, 3, 2, 1, let's go. Lift it up. Lift it up. Push the hips forward a little bit more than you want to. Keep your chest open. Make sure you're not arching your back. So we're doing that same little bit of a crunch as we do in the hip thrust. Yes. 10 seconds. Let's go, let's go. 3, 2, 1. Nice. All right, into your front plank position for a 30-second hold, which is not the longest hold in the world for planks, but we're going to try to make it feel like a damn minute because of the way we're positioning our body. All right, let's go. So 30-second plank would probably be fine, but because we're walking back like this 30 seconds feels so much harder than it normally would in any other plank because of that long lever position with my elbows, because I'm having that set position there. So we have 10 seconds left. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And of course, you guys, when in doubt, just plank. 3, 2, 1, rest, because you have to do that. 2 more sets, the whole thing, and then we are done. So we're back to the first one for the 3rd set. So once you've found the form and the technique on this one, if you feel like you want to try something a little crazy, you can try doing this with straight legs rather than bent legs. And you'll feel like it's a lot harder to catch yourself at the top because it is 15 seconds left. But this should be manageable. We should be in control the entire time. And breathing. Because holding your breath does not help. Just makes you a little lightheaded. No one wants that. 3, 2, and there you go. Nice job, you guys. Okay. Half side plank, the 3rd set, second last time that you have to do this one. All right. You guys ready? Set. All right, let's do it. So lift up, hips forward, chest up, lifting that leg. Now your body's secret way of making this a little easier. Usually what happens is that leg will start to kind of open and rotate. So we want to make sure that we're pointing our toe forward in front of us. If not, pointing the toe down to the floor. See what happens if you do that. Point your toe down. Woo! Fire. Hold it there. 3, 2, and rest. Nice job. All right, other side. So yes, by pointing that toe down, we're putting this hip into that rotated position, which makes us just feel both of our hips a lot more because we're not opening up to the side. Other side, ready, set. Here we go. Lifting up, same thing you did on the first side. So I know I catch you guys at the end there with that little internal rotation. So if you want to try that at the end of this one, you are halfway through. 15 seconds left. Okay, so maybe you want to try to turn your foot in just as you did on the first side here. Now will be a chance. Yes. 3, 2, 1. Nice. All right. A plank. A 30-second plank. So we'll get ourselves ready into formation. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Plank for 30 seconds. So at any point, if that long lever is too hard, I know you can hold a regular plank. So just try your best to stay there. If you're still struggling, you can widen up your feet. If you're kind of stuck in between, it's another thing that you can do. Put yourself into the long lever and widen up your feet. It's going to make you feel more stable. 10 seconds left. It might just be enough to get you through this last little bit here. Your last set. So you got one more after this. 3, 2, 1. Nice job. Okay. We are here. The final set. Last one. So we're back to this first one for your last round. Ready, set, and that is us. Let's do this. So we'll try to keep that chest lifted up at all points here. At no point do we want to roll forward, round forward. We want to keep it lifted, shoulder blades together. Yes. Try to straighten out the legs if you're feeling a little easy in this. 10 seconds left. You got this. Just don't put your feet down. Try your best to stay up in that V. Hold. Rest. Good job, you guys. Okay, that one's done. So yeah, maybe kind of fun. I don't know. All right, so let's get ourselves into the half side plank because that is the one that's gonna take us almost to the end. Here we go. That was your beat. So we're in this part here, thinking about pulling in our belly button. Talked lots about your hips and what you should be feeling, but we should still be feeling our core as well because you're holding this side plank, but you have to pull it in there, tighten it up. 10 more seconds left. Yes. 3, 2, 1. Nice. Good job, guys. Woo-hoo. All right. So we are going to switch sides. Do the other side, starting in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Same thing on this other side. Let's get it. Home stretch, you guys. We are so close. There we go. Breathe through it. Exact same thing you did on the first side. You got to keep it even, right? You get tired and then you want to just pop down, but don't. Just stay up here. Stay with us. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay. The last one, a plank hold, a 30-second plank hold. That again, we're going to try to make feel like a dang minute because the way we're doing it. Flip onto your tummy, front side, forearms. 3, 2, 1. Lift it up. Let's go. Strong plank hold till the end. Let's get it. So whatever you're doing, you want to stay in this plank. You're not going to make it back here. You can try to walk up a couple steps, push up onto your toes, and just stay with us until the end, which is in 10 seconds. Yes. Breathe. One more deep breath. 5, 4, 3, 2, and time. And you guys are done. And yes, okay, we're right here. So let's just go right into a little bit of this. A little bit of rounding, a little bit of arching, probably feels good after all that stuff we just did. You can do this a couple times. Up with an exhale, down with an exhale. When you feel ready, we can have a seat on the heels, walk our hands away and get a nice lower back hip stretch. You guys can hang out down here for about 30 seconds, maybe a minute. Woo! Hopefully you guys feel good. All that, you are done now. We're just going to go through a couple more quick stretches. And then you are free to go. You go make some good food. Get on with your day. So, important things to stretch. Your butt, your glutes. This one here, this kind of yoga-esque pigeon stretch, great one. But not so great if you have sensitive knees. So we can try this one, and if it doesn't feel that good, we have the exact same muscles stretched in this one. Yeah, we've been here before. And so this is going to still stretch the glute, the hip. It's just a lot safer and more friendly on the knees if you have sensitive ones. And so we'll hold this for about a minute on each side. Now, if you're feeling kind of tight after these workouts, whether it's in your hips or your lower back or anything like that, you'll probably benefit from doing more than one set of these stretches. So we're going to do one together right now. Should be already started your first side, holding for that 1 minute. And then we'll do the other side. And then if you guys want to come back here, you can come back and do another set or two, or maybe other stretches that you would like to do. But we'll definitely get one in. We'll hold this for about 15 more seconds. And for some of us, again, I have my foot on the floor like this. We might feel this here. For others, we might have to pull in. Should feel tension, but no pain. So we'll relax that side and we'll switch sides. And as you guys are holding this side, I'm going to show you one more stretch that I think that you should do. You might see this coming. So you stay here. Okay, I'm going to time you for this side. Last one. So I'm going to leave you guys with this one. A little over time. Hello, hip flexor stretch. Now, we did lots of stuff to work the back of our hips, which kind of also works the front of our hips. We also did a lot of core work, which involved the hip flexors in the front. So if you do have time, please take some time to stretch out this hip. Kneeling, half kneeling stretch. And you can take about a minute on each side to stretch out the hip flexors, especially if you're somebody with tight or sensitive lower back. You feel like you're tight, your hips get tight. Those ones will help you. The one on your back, which you should be kind of coming to an end now, and then this one up here. Okay, so you guys are done with me. Yay! Thank you so much. Thank you, Bobby, Dave, Tanis, Carly, who had to jump out early. You guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for coming out live. Hopefully I'll see you guys tomorrow. We have upper body, if not at some point this week. Have a great day, you guys. Happy Monday. And yeah, go get her done. Bye.